University, supervising strength training for all 17 Tulane athletic programs, working directly with the men's and women's basketball teams. And he came to Tulane after serving as the head strength coach at ULL for 5 years and also spent time with the Cleveland Browns in the NFL. Please give a warm quarterback club welcome to Rob Phillips at Tulane University. Rob.
Appreciate you guys and appreciate the opportunity to come and talk before you today. Just a little bit about what we do, and the big questions I get is, Coach, what exactly do you do? And number one thing as far as a strength and conditioning coach is, we're trying to get the kids that we get in here, we're trying to prevent injury in these kids. And, some people talk about that's what they do. It's a big focus of mine. And, being in the NFL for 5 years, I learned the importance of taking care of the body, and that comes from everything that you do, from getting enough sleep, the right nutrition, the prehab type exercises we do, and then gets down to the nuts and bolts of the program. But we do that for all 16 sports at Tulane, and I've always come from a football background. That's kind of been my background. University of Tennessee, University of Miami, Western Carolina University, Cleveland Browns, UL, and then been over here. Last summer, I kind of got a unique perspective here, is because I kind of oversee everything. In other words, we have a strength coach here that actually does football, Derek Ashley, and that's who Coach Toledo had put in place in here. And Derek and I have formed a good relationship, a working relationship. What kind of sometimes makes it, a little bit strange at first, but we've learned to really work with each other, and Derek's learned to accept me and my input into his program, and and likewise with all of our other sports. We've got Russ Fuller that does baseball. We've got Brandon Nelson that works with the basketball team. Stephanie Sharp does the tennis teams and volleyball team. Russ also works with our track program. We have Richard Gray with the swimmers, and also our new sport is bowling, which has been interesting in itself, but that bowling team actually does come in and work. So I get a wide perspective, and I get a chance to work with all these kids, 300 student athletes. You get a chance to impart something into each one of these young kids' lives. And, and like I said, first and foremost, we want to try to prevent injury, and then on top of that, we want to try to improve their performance. We want to help them as human beings become better men and women in our society. And I usually get a lot of questions from these things, so if anybody wants to start shooting up in here, fire away.
Raise your hand.
Wow. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about the men's basketball team.
Yes, ma'am.
I saw them against Loyola.
Yes, ma'am.
We've got some small guys. Why aren't they hitting the weight room? I've been telling Trent Rogers for 4 years, hit the weight room. He hasn't done it. So what is the training with the men's basketball team?
Say that, excuse me.
What is the program with the men's basketball?
With the men's basketball team, men's basketball, they wanted to focus more on cardiovascular endurance for this season. And that comes straight from Coach Conroy, and that's an emphasis of him, that he wants to be able to run up and down the court all day long with anybody. So with that being said, you can increase things, you get what you emphasize. Okay, and that's been a big emphasis of our off-season program with them, is keeping them in cardiovascular shape. They said they don't want the big guys, they don't want the bulky guys, they don't want, that's not who they are as a style of a basketball program. So, sometimes as a strength coach, you have your own ideas of things, and as the head coach, he has the ultimate call in that and saying the direction of where he wants this team to go into. Yes, sir.
I don't mean to be critical, but I find one of Tulane's many problems is the fact that they're way out of shape. They can play for a quarter, maybe a quarter and a half, and that's it. I mean, the ball game's over. What's the story on that?
Are you speaking from a football perspective, I'm guessing?
The football team, yeah.
Football perspective?
Yeah.
And that's an easy shot to fire at a strength coach too, is because, part of me takes that as a little personal in there, but that part of me too, you have to understand that, these are kids out here. I base their conditioning on, they came off the field on a 10-play drive, are they huffing and puffing, or are they over there looking you in the eye and being attentive? You okay? Yeah, coach, I'm fine. So for you to tell me that, and you know, based on the guys coming off the field, like I said, after a 10-play drive, and they're looking you in the face, and you know, can you go? Yeah, I can go all day, coach. Man. You know, so it's a hard question to answer because there's, you know, how do you judge that? You know, that's a person's perspective. That's an easy answer out of that, but it's true. You know, everybody sees things a little bit different. But from my perspective is when they come off the field, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking in their eyes. When coach is talking to them, you know, I'm saying, are you guys still paying attention? Can I get back out there? Am I hustling? Am I walking back? Those type of things. Yes, sir.
Kind of a comment in general, not necessarily your expertise, but possibly marketing. I went to the game Thursday night, and generously speaking, they might have had 3,500 people there. 2,000 were Houston fans. I mean, is there anything you can comment on that's being done marketing-wise or anything to stimulate interest?
You know, that's kind of out of my realm a little bit. I can tell you from a coach and a player perspective, you know, this is, like I said, this is kind of the first time I've been involved with Tulane football and being on the field and doing those type of things. But to go out there as a coach and see 2,000 people in the dome, it's embarrassing to say the least. You know, it hurts as a coach, and you feel for the kids that are out there playing. You know, what's the answer to that situation? You know, could be marketing, you know, generating now, getting a big name coach to come in, whatever that might be. You know, if they come in, do a great job, spark some interest. You know, that's all that more and more to play with for the guys. But it's embarrassing to be in a dome that's dead silent.
What's the morale of the kids when they see that?
You know, they're fighters, and
any signs or
they surprise you each and every week. We come in on Sunday after a tough loss, and you know, the first 10 minutes, kind of takes them a little bit to get going, but you know, and that's what we talk about all the time is, you know, fighters fight, we get back up and we keep swinging. You know, I don't know anything else as a man. You know, when somebody beats me down, I'm gonna get back up the next day and keep working hard. Two things I can control in life is my attitude and my effort. And you know, I'm not gonna lay down for anybody. I'm gonna come to work just like I did today and just like I'm gonna do every day from here on forward. You know, I've been in situations where, you know, we won 12 in a row, so let me tell you, it's a whole lot easier to be a coach when you're 12-0 than when you're reeling off some losses. And, you know, and it's respect to the kind of kid that you get in, the kind of character that a kid has, you know, to see what he's made of. You know, can he come back after somebody hits him in the mouth and, you know, been publicly embarrassed that way. And, you know, they're embarrassed. They're people just like any of us, you know, and they respond in different ways. And, you know, it's our job as coaches to make sure that they continue with the vision and the direction that they're trying to go in. Yes, sir.
From a recruiting standpoint, when football coaches out there recruiting athletes, do you ever get into the mix as to saying, hey, look, you know, I mean, strength obviously is important at certain positions, as to, you know, this kid's only benching 260 right now, and, you know, he may never get over 305. You know, because it seems like, I know when I was at school, a lot of the skilled people were unfortunately stronger than the linemen. And, you know, part of that I think is because there's not enough linemen to go around the country, and you got to, you know, there's only so many big, strong, fast people. But I guess from your perspective, do you get to give input? Because obviously strength of the line makes a difference, and you can't take a kid, you can only take them so far. I guess is what I'm saying. So I don't know, what are your thoughts on that?
I would love to have some input in there, but you know, unfortunately, it depends on who the coach is and the situation, and to depend on, you know, what type of input they're going to get from the strength coach. You know, the only time the strength coach really gets to see them in college, you know, is when those guys arrive on campus. And you basically have about 24 hours with them. You know, it's not 24 hours. You got about 3 hours to kind of judge where this kid's at. You know, you can talk about numbers all you want, but, you know, people lie. And most of the numbers that I get from coaches, you know, that's kind of a starting point for us. And it's usually, in most cases, it's overinflated. You know, and we go back and we retest them. You know, we teach them how we want them to do things, and then we go back and retest. You know, most things you come out of these scouting service, a guy runs 4.4. Well, he gets on campus, he runs 4.7. So you know, where's the credibility in the numbers that are coming out? You know, that's a tough one, but you know, and too, it depends on the head coach. You know, how much emphasis does he put on it, and the coach that's recruiting them. You know, if it's an emphasis from the head coach, then it becomes an emphasis for them to ask, for them to see those guys in the weight room in the recruiting process. Yes, sir. Oh. That was camera guy. Anything else? Thank you guys. Thank you for your